Hiya, my name is Stella, and I am someone who loves my beautiful baby OCs. Like, oh my gosh, I jump for joy whenever I see them and whenever someone makes art of them. And this is why I'm currently prepping for a certain event that's happening in the month of July, and that's called Artfight. Basically, I'll be showing you guys all of the reference sheets and some art that I've made for my beautiful little children. And you guys know the title of this video, and I'm guessing that if you clicked on this, you know what Artfight is. But if you don't, for whatever reason, and you're just clicking on this perhaps for background noise or something, I'll give you a very, very watered down version of it because I'm bad at talking and I don't have a real definition of it because it's not really a real word in a way, if you know what I mean. But anyways, Artfight is an annual trading, in quotes, game. Though what I would personally call it and what a bunch of other people call it is an art gifting game instead of trading, because you don't really have to give art back during the month and during the event, if you know what I mean. Yeah, they're the same thing. But it's an event that always happens in the first day of July or like a couple days after the first day of July, because sometimes the Artfight team like runs into a little bit of difficulties and then they can't start it right away on July. But then that also makes it run into August a little more. That did not happen last year in 2025. In 2025, actually, that was my first year and they started right on time. So thankfully I was online every single day from the time that I joined to when Artfight started, or else I probably would have missed out on 5 days of not being able to do any art because I thought it would be down. But yeah, and basically like all of the users get to choose between two teams. They get to choose between two teams. And an example of this is last year's was crystals and fossils. I was on team crystals and we won. It was such a close game, bro. Everyone was like 50-50 the whole time. And at the end, it was still 50-50. And everyone was like, who's gonna win? And then we were just like watching the points slowly get tallied up. And we were like, oh my gosh. And then I remember all of my friends were on fossils and I was just sitting here like laughing my butt off. Anyways, basically to quote unquote win the game, users attack, which basically means you make art of another person's OC and send it off to them, and that's your attack. And basically the amount of points you get for your team is how detailed and how much work and effort you put into your artwork or your attack. There's also other things like defenses, revenges, friendly fire. You can go check that out on your own time, because if this sounds interesting enough for you, go ahead and go search up like what else it is. Like, it's super fun. I mean, for me, I joined, as I said earlier, I joined Artfight for the first time ever last year. Oh my gosh, I was overwhelmed with how nice people were. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, have a good year, your first Artfight. And it was so much fun. Not to mention that I only had one character halfway through. And then I also uploaded my Sona. I didn't have any OCs. Well, I did. I had one. And it was a fandom OC. And guess who's barely in the fandom anymore? Who would do that? And that means that I got at least 100 attacks of this character that I'm not really connected to anymore. I'm sorry for anyone who drew that character and you're seeing this and you're just like, oh my gosh, like there was an insane one. I'll put it up on the screen right now. It was insane and beautiful and oh my gosh. There was actually a lot of insane ones. Let me put all of them up there right now. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna attack you guys again. Not to get art, but because you deserve something better than probably what I gave you last year. Oh my gosh. My art sucked last year. I mean, like, it sucked. I didn't know how to render. I didn't know body proportions. I didn't know anything, bro. I mean, I did. I was reasonable for 14 years old. I guess, if you want to call it reasonable. It wasn't really. It looked like I was like 9 years old or something. Actually, maybe I'm okay, I'm rambling now. I made a script for myself and I'm rambling. Like I thought if I used my script I wouldn't be rambling, but here I am. Okay, let's just go. But basically, yeah, if that sounds interesting, go check out other videos on what Artfight is and like how it works and everything, because it is so much fun. And like I said, I got 119 attacks last year. I did do a revenge chain. Go search up what that is. I'm not explaining it. I'm sorry, I'm like really bad at explaining stuff, like as you can probably tell. But I did a revenge chain with someone, so that was probably like a lot of attacks right there. But I got easily like over 100 attacks last year. It was my first year too. Okay, can I just don't go crazy in the comments, but I got 67 defenses. 67. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I'm basically just gonna ramble about my children now while you guys look at the speed paints in the back that are already happening, and we're 6 minutes in! Oh, okay, great. That voice crack was bad. Yeah, hopefully you guys are okay with this video. This is my first video on YouTube, bro. Oh my gosh. I had my first video on TikTok that was like 45 minutes because I did not want to post it on YouTube, and I was like, okay. But yeah, so let's go. But yeah, this first story is like the first ever story I stuck to in such a long time. Like there was like stories upon stories upon stories when I was a little kid, and I remember I would draw them. I'll probably go look for some art. I think I threw them all away, but I'll look for some art. I don't know. But that was like that story upon story upon stories was like my first ever real story that I was like, oh my gosh, this is my pride and joy. And then I just left it. I just left it to rot. Because it was like, oh my gosh, it was like back in 2019 animation meme community. So it was like, oh, when you're corrupted, you have black eyes and like your eyes like cry black tears, and it was like, oh my gosh, like yeah, you can see why I don't have that anymore. Anyways, let's get back on focus, Skane. So this story is basically just focused around this one character named Virtue. You can see her in the background. She's beautiful, amazing. I love her. And the story is basically it takes place many years into the future, and it's a world that had basically been going through another world war, and it led to like a bunch of countries trying to see who could create the most advanced human being. And this like caused the experiments of people and animals, mostly animals on people. People on whatever way it is to give people animal features. Yeah, okay. But basically scientists thought that if people were given more animalistic features, they would be able to like become an overpowered humanoid being that could help in wars. And overall, because of this constant war, many people had been dying. Obviously, it's war. Oh my gosh. Oh, great idea, Stella. Oh my gosh. I gotta shut up. And basically just like this large area of Afro-Eurasia just caused millions of people, probably like 3 billion people to go extinct. I don't know, maybe something like that. I don't know. So basically whole entire human population was wiped out. But are you ready for this? The experiments were not. Why? Oh my gosh, well, I was just about to get to that, guys. Oh my gosh. This is so awkward. I hate this. Please tell me you guys aren't getting bored, please. But yeah, the experiments who like weren't able to die from what the humans were dying to because they had gotten better respiratory and immunity to things that were killing regular humans. Like they were able to live through the radiation or at least more radiation than humans were. Overall, this caused the continent to be incredibly unlivable for normal people, and the experiments used the war to escape and kill many human beings. And basically at this point, all of Afro-Eurasia is now uninhabitable if you are not an experiment. Even if you are an experiment, there's like a lot of fights where experiments just attack each other because they're like, oh, I want that food and you have it, so I'm gonna kill you so I can get that food. You know, like a fight for food, survival of the fittest, basically. But yeah, so let's go back to the character that I'm drawing. Little Miss Girl Virtue. She was born in Russia and she was experimented on at the age of 12. Her parents had let her be taken by the government for the experimentation out of fear of what the government would do if they didn't. So a snow leopard's DNA would be put inside Virtue's, and this would cause her to grow features of a of a snow leopard. When she was 16, she would end up meeting another character named Feronia, which we will get to in a moment. As you can see, Virtue is like really, really cold and serious, and that's because of her amazing, beautiful backstory. I know. It's it's all happy and sunshines and rainbows. And it's definitely not. You guys should definitely go check out her toy house to see it more in depth. What? Oh my gosh, who said that? Who said that? Oh my gosh. Anyways, let's go back to the next character, who I was literally just talking about. Feronia. Oh, Feronia, my baby. I love her. I love Feronia. But anyways, Feronia had originally been born in Massachusetts before her and her parents moved to Minnesota. Both of these places are states in the United States, by the way. I live in the United States, so it's like I already know what these places are. I can know for a fact that people won't know the states. Don't worry about it. I just gave you what it is, so you know where it is now. But later on, the United States government officials had been traveling like through its country to kind of take kids. I know it sounds bad. I know. But it's like a more forceful way of a draft. Except they're going around to houses and they're saying, hey, if you have a child between the ages 12 to 18, we're going to be taking them with us so that they can train. And then once they're at like 16 years old, they're going to go to war. And it was like, oh my god. But at this time, when the officials came to her house, oh my gosh, the war was getting so destructive and so bad. And so Feronia was taken when she was 13 years old. She's like literally in that age range. And a year later, like literally only a year later, when she's 14, she gets taken to her first battle. So this immediately like goes against like, oh, if you're 16, then that's when you start going to battle. No, when you're 14, you start going to battle now, bro. Now. But this first battle occurred in Europe. There's nothing really to it except for the fact that that was her first ever battle. And then 2 years later, at 16 years old, she and her team, if that's what you want to call it, were called to get sent near the amazing, beautiful, cold border of Alaska and Russia. Again, Alaska is that northernest point of the United States, all the way at the top near the Arctic Ocean. Right? Arctic? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. See, I know my stuff. Trust. And it's that tiny little piece of land and the tiny little islands that are barely even islands because they're so small. It's terrible. It's cold. It's the area that is like dark for one half of the year and then light for the other half of the year. It's terrible. It's bad. But basically, she and her quote-unquote team had gone into the operation thinking, oh, this is just gonna be another regular assignment, yo. Oh, we're gonna be fine. Let's go get some coffee after this. Like, yeah, no. During this battle is when hybrids had been revealed to the United States military and government, and then they realized, like, oh, they're using them freely now. They, as in Russians, because they were going against Russia. I don't know if I said that. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. Yep. Anyways, but at the time before this, no one in military branches knew of the U.S. or that, like, okay, let me restart that. At the time before this, no one in the military branches of the U.S. military knew about hybrids. Like, they didn't know that there was people literally being experimented on. So basically all of the United States citizens and all of the, just like anyone who isn't higher up, it's basically like when the atomic bombs were being made for World War II and only the president knew about it and whoever was working on it. That was like the high level of secretiveness. They didn't know that people were being experimented on. They were just being held in the dark, basically. And so they weren't expecting, like, these people who are, like, scary to just, like, pop out of nowhere, and they have, like, animal features. They have, like, really, really long claws. They have tails that can be used as whips. It's like, what just happened? And so they were obviously overpowered, the US. And so after a long and grueling battle, her team was just fully wiped out, and she was laying on the ground with, like, lots of blood just draining from her body, and some Russian shoulders. Anyways, soldiers realized that she was alive, and they were like, we could use this girl to get answers out of the United States. Let's do that. So that's what they did. They captured her, or the Russian soldiers captured Feronia, and she believes that she's going to be executed in front of people, but they actually just decide to perform terrible experiments on her instead. These experiments were, like, ranging from you get a stomachache and a headache to you're lying on the floor sweating and about to pass out, and, like, your throat is closing up. Like, that's how bad it got. Anyways, a little while later, after all this, Virtue would arrive to the same laboratory where Feronia is, and they catch, like, a brief glance at each other, but they would never talk, just out of fear of, like, what would happen if they did. After the incident, which is when humanity is wiped out, so whenever you hear incident, it's humanity being wiped out, Feronia and Virtue meet up at the outside of the laboratory because Feronia noticed that Virtue would just not move from in front of the open doors. And then from this moment on, they're, like, literally, like, little like, oh my, they're sisters. I love them so much. I love them. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, and then also, if you can see, which you probably can, I hope you do, but in Feronia's design, oh my gosh, she has so many American flags. Yes, I know. It's because she's patriotic, y'all. She's patriotic. But the actual reason is because she found, like, many American flags being left around the Russian lab once it was, like, humanity was wiped out. And the reason they had the enemy's flag with them was to teach the people of the laboratory, like, the experiments, that, like, hey, the United States, this flag, if you see it, you gotta attack them. They are terrible, they are mean, they are... What were I don't know what the war names were that people used against other people, and I don't want to say them either, actually. Like, I actually don't think I want to say any. I can't even remember any, but I probably don't if I didn't know. Or if I did know. So, we're not gonna say any. Not that I do know any. Okay, I just keep repeating myself now. Okay. But basically, she, like, sees all this, and they're like, if you see this flag, that means you gotta go to that direction and attack whoever's there. doesn't matter if you find out once they're dead on the ground that they were originally a part of you. If they were hanging out over there, they were most likely a traitor. So you gotta go attack them. They're also the reason for why you look like this. Even though it totally wasn't. Sometimes. I'm pretty sure somewhere around this, like, the United States had been making their own experiments once they found out about Feronia's expedition. And then they were just like, okay, yeah, let's start doing that, actually. And then that's where, like, all of the allies come in to do that. But so once the incident happened, Feronia would take all of the flags and she would just rip them up and put them on her and, like, design, if you want to call it. I wanted to make it look cute, so that's why they look like that. But she just did that so that she could feel connected to her homeland and just, like, you know, be happy that she's still alive, representing the spirit of the American people. We love her. But at some point, Virtue was trying to grab food while Feronia was sleeping. You guys remember earlier when I said that people, especially experiments, were fighting over food now? Yeah, So Virtue was trying to grab food, and as soon as she walks out and goes to pick up a piece of bread, she's literally jumped. Literally. Like, if I were to make this like a manga or an anime, she would be jumped and, like, just hit to the ground immediately. But this is all caused by other experiments, and this causes a huge fight between this group of people and Virtue. So yeah, there's like a lot of people. You don't see any of them yet. Well, I mean, you see two of them. The one who hit her, and then the one who's, like, the backup plan, I guess. But after that, Virtue's, like, chest gets scratched when they're fighting, and that causes Feronia to wake up because she hears both Virtue scream, and then also Feronia actually had a great sense of smell before the experience, and she had an even greater one with her combination of... I forgot to tell you, she's a combination of a human and a silken windhound, and that's why she was able to smell even while she was asleep. Feronia immediately went to go outside and see what was happening, and gets in the way of one of the attackers trying to scratch at Virtue. This causes Feronia to get hurt, but she does not care. Like, she's like, Virtue, I'm here for you. You gotta go. I'm gonna go deal with this little person. I don't even know. What's a good way to say someone mean? This brat? No. I don't know. So basically, like, Virtue was like, she, like, stepped away a little bit, and Feronia just started staring down the other experiment who had attacked Virtue, and then Virtue hears something behind her, and she's like, what does that sound? And she's like, wait, that sounds like walking, that sounds like footsteps. She turns around, there's this huge gain of just experiments, and they're all just, like, starting to surround her and Feronia in the experiment that they were, like, staring down. And she's like, oh crap. So Virtue was like, Feronia? And when Feronia turns around and takes in, like, the scene of everyone just surrounding them, she's like, oh crap. And then she's hit down by the earlier attacker. And then they both begin, like, just going at it with each other. And then Virtue is taken by another attacker and ripped away from where Feronia is. And the two of them were, like, literally outnumbered. And Virtue had tried her best to, like, get out of her attacker's grip. And then when Feronia saw that she was, like, getting hurt by another attacker, she goes over there, kills this one, and it's like, Virtue, go! Like, leave! I got this, trust! You're totally not gonna see me lying on the floor dead after this! So she's, like, telling Virtue, like, girl, run! What are you doing standing here? You're so much younger than me! Run! And so Virtue takes, like, a long second looking at her beautiful, amazing sister figure before running. finally. So Feronia would end up dying. At some point, Virtue would walk back to where the fight was and would see Feronia's dead body laying there, and all Virtue would think about is like, what if I didn't try to get that piece of food? Like, would this have turned out any better? Yeah, my poor baby with survival skill. Oh my gosh. Anyways, we have another friend. A girlfriend. Yes! Yes, we got some Yuri! Oh my gosh. I love Yuri so much. Yuri is the love of my life. Oh, I love Yuri. It's in, like, all my stories, bro. Like, literally. Oh, I love girl kissers, bro. And anyways, this beautiful girl in the background. Oh, that's Evangelina. And she is the girl. Oh my gosh. But yeah, Evangelina, if you can't tell how she already looks, she's easily one of the softest and sweetest characters in this whole story. But Evangelina had originally lived in Estonia before her home was invaded by... Okay, before I say this, Sweden and Finland, 2 countries right next to each other, in case you don't know geography, combined to make one country, and then that one country invaded Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia. So those 3 countries, and then it was all those 3 plus Sweden and Finland, all one country now. And so Sweden and Finland, well, I guess I don't really know a name that would be for them, but that country was allies with Britain. And Britain also took up the idea of 12 to 18 from the United States. So they were like, okay, send any of that age group here so that we can do some experimentations. That's what they did. Evangelina was one of those experiments. And the British, actually, no one had done any experiments with small animals. So the British decided, like, oh, what would happen if we did small animals instead of big ones? What would happen if we did weak animals instead of huge, strong ones? So Evangelina was one of the first ever experiments that the British had done with small animals. And before Evangelina, countries, like I said, had been using animals that were large and dangerous. But the British wanted to see if a small animal would make a person grow smaller, experience any risks, and earlier experiment didn't, and etc. So because of this, the DNA of a bunny was added into her. They noticed it didn't do much but grow fur, like small, thin fur, and made her ears insanely long and stick up, like really, really furry, sticky up ears, and then a little small tail. Because of little changes, they wanted to see what would happen if another animal was added into the mix. And because of this, they would end up putting a sheep's DNA in her. Another relatively harmless animal. They wanted to see what would happen still. And this caused her to be fluffy in some parts of her body, like her joints and her face, and especially her hair. Can you see how voluminous? Yeah, her hair is, like, Dana, I wish? No, I don't wish, actually. However, because of the strange combination between a sheep and a bunny, it caused some things to go wrong. Her tail ended up growing incredibly long, much longer than a sheep and a bunny, sheep and a bunny could ever have, and then her ears were no longer able to stick up. Instead, they were just, like, left flopping in front of her face, as you can see. And then for most of her life in the lab, she didn't understand what was going on, especially being one of the youngest at only 12 years old when she was taken. When the incident had occurred, her caretaker had told her to stay put in her room while, like, loud alarms began to blare throughout the whole laboratory. She noticed her caretakers were taking so long to come back that she wanted to go search for them. This is how she found out about the destruction, seeing a lot of scientists and doctors dead on the ground. Lots of gore happened that she goes into in the story, but I'm not going to say it on here for obvious reasons. I didn't yet. I'm writing it, but I'm planning to post it on AO3. Any of you guys want to check that out? I'll put my AO3 in the description. But yeah, I post all my stories on there, or at least I'm planning to. I'm making some right now. But after this, she finally decides to leave the laboratory. She went walking without food and water for days, becoming exhausted and terrified of whatever happened, because she still didn't know. But eventually she would end up meeting up with Virtue and smooch, smooch, smooch. They're so cute. They end up getting together a lot later in the story, but they're not doomed yet. And I don't think they will be. Maybe? I actually don't know. Anyways, next up, an absolute baddie, bro. People love this woman. So this girl's name is Anka. Or Anka or Anke. It does not matter to me, bro. I don't care. But she had lived in Egypt for most of her life, and she was taken by the Egyptian government, where her DNA was fused with an owl's. Her transformation is known to be one of the most dangerous to transform into, and I wanted her design to be kind of unsettling because of her meeting with Virtue and Evangelina, which is, again, I'll add it to AO3 soon, I promise. Not now, though. And so I wanted it to be like that. So while I was thinking about how I wanted her character design to look, I was thinking about anime characters, and I was oh, Fallen from Dungeon Meshi. And I was oh my gosh, did I just take the best thing ever? And so yeah, I took inspiration from her form. I think it's a chimera. I think that's what it is. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it is. But yeah, so I took inspiration from that version of Fallen, where Anka could be able to attack people with her feet. I know that sounds wrong. Let me just put up a video really quickly of Fallen's little things. Okay, you guys know? You guys know now? Okay, good. But that also meant it could be very, very harmful and dangerous, a dangerous transformation she had to go through. And I mean, she had to grow wings out of her arms. Feathers began sprouting out of her body. Her eyes were damaged. The wings on her head, not even to mention her clawed feet now. Her feet grew. My poor girl. My baby. But unlike others who were experimented on with bird-like mutations, she was actually able to adapt relatively quickly and was able to learn how to fly also very quickly. When the world just died, she was able to make it away from the bombs that were happening in her country by flying away, so good thing she learned how to fly. And she soon arrived in the Balkans, which is where her interaction with Virtue and Evangelina would be. I love their interaction. Like I said earlier, it will be on AO3 at some point. I don't know when, but I love it so much. It's so funny. Evangelina's just oh my gosh, please don't kill us. Please don't kill us. And then Virtue's why would you scream? But I love Anka. I love her so much. But next up, we have a very, very close friend to Anka. This girl's name is Iria. Oh my gosh, my beautiful baby girl. Oh, I love her. Iria was a young girl in Poland who was taken to France for experimentation. One thing about Iria is that with all the other experiments, or with all the other characters' sad backstories, Iria is just kind of confused. Honestly, I feel because she never lived outside of her cell in the laboratory, never really talking to anyone, and was never going outside in general, she seemed to forget what the meaning of normality was to her, and at this point, the laboratories had become her new normal. So when the incident happened and people were dying inside the building, she took it as her chance to run. So she actually went outside for the first time. She touched grass, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys. She touched grass. I know. She didn't actually know why she was running. She just saw multiple other people doing it, and she felt like it was right to be running. So she just ran. She ran for a bit, then started walking, and she tried to remember the way that her parents used to go when they would go on road trips to France, then back to Poland. And at some point, she would end up finding her town, and it was just completely ruined, demolished. She had noticed towns along the way that were completely demolished and everything, and she just was you know what? There's a chance that my town is perfectly fine. It was surrounded by a beautiful invisible bubble that protected it No. I'm sorry, Iria. It wasn't. But so it was just gone, and no one in her town was alive, which meant her parents weren't alive anymore. It was just gone. So she slowly came to terms with the fact that her home was just gone. So she went back to walking. Soon enough, she'll end up meeting our next character named Lumiethel, who had also been running from the destruction of her home. But I'm guessing you guys already know who the next character is by what I just said. Lumiethel. Lumiethel was originally living in Bulgaria before, are you ready? Being taken by Germany's government to be experimented on. I know. Such a new thing in this story. Who would ever take someone to be experimented on? Oh my gosh. But anyways, Lumiethel had her DNA mixed with a bat's, and this led to the way that she looks now. Lumiethel isn't someone who's loud about her hate for people. Like, she actually hates people a lot, even though she used to be one. She kind of hates them, and she hates governments, all that stuff. And how people just turned her into a war machine, basically. But instead, she's really, really reserved, like, virtue about how she feels, but she does make it known that she hates governments and stuff. Anyways, we finished! Hey! First story is finished! Oh my gosh, I love these girls so much. Also, you may see a character in the background. Let me just zoom in on her really quickly. She's adorable. I love her. I have no use for her yet. I included her in so many things, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, she is so adorable. I love her so much. And I'm like, thanks. I don't know what to use her for yet. Thanks though. So I'm like low-key debating if I should just get rid of her for this art fight. If I can't come up with anything from this point to when art fight starts, I'm getting rid of her. Like, or at least I'm gonna put her in the side characters, but I don't know. Like, she has no really thing to the other main characters, so I don't know if I'm truly gonna include her. And yeah, sighs, sob. But also, I do have side characters, and I have side characters for all of my stories, but I have one minuscule kind of huge rule. I guess those are two opposites, but like depending on how you look at it, it could be minuscule or minuscule, miniscule, or it could be like a huge rule to you. But basically, in order to draw a side character, you have to have drawn another character from a main story, like from the main cast of whatever story. You could draw one of the main characters that I just said. You could draw one of them, and then you could draw a character from the story that I'm about to talk about, or a side character from the story I'm about to talk about. You could do it like that. You could do a main character from this story and then a side character from this story. You could do... Wait, I just explained it. Yeah, you could do a main character from this story and a side character from this story, or a main character from this story and a side character from the other story, etc., etc., you know. It doesn't matter what character you draw. Like, I don't care. I low-key need a bunch of art for my beautiful side characters, but the reason the reason for this rule is just because I care more about my beautiful baby children, my beautiful baby main characters. Like, I love my side characters, but if they were in an anime or something, they're only going to be shown a couple times. So, yeah. Here are some of the side characters, though. We love them. They're beautiful. I love them so much. I actually got a lot of them from Toy House, and if you see your design up there, oh, you are a baddie, bro. Oh my gosh, I love you, whoever you are, if you are seeing this. Ooh. Anyways, so that's it for that story. I'll probably end up making another video for my next story, and then another for the next, so on and so forth. But yeah. There you go. Those are my babies in that story, so hopefully you like it. Hopefully you'll come attack me in July.